Hello everyone, welcome to Emerge IAS Free Mains Answer Writing Program Day 12. Today our question is from General Studies Paper 2 and the question is here. Discuss the role of Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan in empowering the migrant workers of the country. Here the keywords of this question we have to understand this is a question that asks us to discuss about the role of a scheme, that is a recently launched scheme, that is Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan. And in the question itself they gave us an idea about the scheme. Even though if you haven't heard about this scheme, you can able to answer, because in this question itself they are telling us that discuss the role of this scheme in empowering migrant workers. So we can understand that this scheme is something for migrant workers of our country. So we can relate it with the recent migrant workers problem that is ongoing in India. And the keywords in this question: discuss the role of Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan in empowering migrant workers. Empowerment of migrant workers and the Garib Kalyan Rozgar Yojana or Abhiyan is the keywords in this question. First of all, earlier I told you that we can understand that this question is for migrant workers. So in this question is for 250 words and 12.5 marks. So we have to discuss about this question. In this question what we want to do is we have to tell about this scheme, what is the objectives of this scheme and what are the benefits of this scheme for the migrant workers. And in the introduction part we can tell about the migrant worker population in India and how much people and how much percentage of people are migrant workers in India and what are the issues they are facing and how this scheme helped them. In the introduction part we have included that Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan scheme is specifically for migrant workers. This is the first point we have to write, and we can get this point from the question itself. And also we can add the ministry which is responsible for this in the introduction part or as well as in the body part, and who have returned to their villages owing to the dearth of the livelihood opportunities in the urban areas. Yes, this scheme, we know that this scheme was formed during the COVID pandemic starting stages, when the COVID pandemic was in a field. That time the most affected category of people was the migrant workers, because they are not able, they don't have job opportunities in where they were live, and they wanted to shift from one place to another place, so they have to return to their own villages. And we saw the newses of people walking by the road for kilometers, and many people died during this also. That was a sad thing about migrant workers happened during the pandemic. So to help them, to give them a livelihood opportunity, this scheme was introduced by a government, and a government, this time only the government understood the plight of the migrant laborers and has been extremely proactive in taking steps to ensure their lives as well as livelihoods. And however, there are usually supplementary factors that tend to make the overall impact more successful for some more than others. So this time what happened is was the negative thing we get made us to formulate such a plan for our migrant worker population. And here the body part starts with the objectives of this scheme. The objectives of the scheme include the immediate employment opportunities to these migrant workers, because they lost their job and where they worked, and they returned to their villages. Already they don't have an employment opportunity in their own villages. That's why they migrated to some other places. But now there also they lost their employment opportunity and returning back to their village. There may be their family was totally dependent on this people's income. That's why the government was formulated this plan for an immediate employment opportunity to returning migrant workers. And through this scheme, government also included these people in 100 days job employment guarantee act scheme, and these people started working in that, and government provided them 125 days of working or 125 working days for them. And also this increased the public infrastructure and assets. How this scheme will increase the public infrastructure and asset management, because when these people return to their own village, the government aimed at creating public infrastructure at rural areas, and there may be the non-agricultural rural job creation infrastructure facilities. So through that the public infrastructure also developed in many villages. And this scheme want to enhance the long term livelihood opportunities. Yes, that's an necessary thing, because this scheme was aimed at immediate employment opportunity. However, we are wanting an immediate opportunity this to curb this COVID-19 pandemic issues, but we have to have an long term livelihood opportunity, because most of the people are dependent on their work they had in somewhere else, that is outside from their state. So we have to create an employment opportunity within their state also, that means within their own villages, then they don't want to go to some other place to work. So this helps in a long term livelihood opportunity. This was also considered in this scheme. And the next thing is, this program is mindful of the fact that returning migrants have specific skills. Yes, that's an important thing, because everyone was not doing the same job, because people have their own specific or unique skills. So the government had to analyze what the type of skills they had. According to the skill, the government had to give them employment opportunity. That is why under this scheme we formulated 25 different types of employment opportunity. These 25 different types of employment opportunity benefits people with different types of skills. These include like a construction works, or soil conservation works also included in this, and poultry work, or Gram Panchayat Bhavan construction works, cattle shed management, goat shed management, livestock management, something like that. So all these were comes under this 25 types of employment opportunity. And this scheme was steered by a single ministry, that is a Ministry of Rural Development. But this scheme was also supported by some other 11 ministries also. So this is a coordinated activity between different types of ministries to encourage the rural economy in light of migrant workers. And the next thing is, the migrant workers, specifically we come to the women workers. Women workers, their collaboration or their participation in the employment was encouraged by the self-help groups. This boosted their efficiency. Through the self-help group, there may be under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, we provided loans during the pandemic time for very low interest, and sometimes government also provided loans without interest. That means only the people have to pay back the amount they have borrowed. There is no interest to that. And these all facilities were given through the self-help groups. And also cottage industry opportunities. Cottage industry opportunities were also given through this self-help groups, and that boosted their efficiency. And a web portal was also launched for this, and this portal gave us an transparency, and through this portal we are able to understand what are the things that is happening through this scheme and what are their outcomes. There was an web portal. And we are going to the next thing, that now we saw every objectives of this scheme, and we are just moving into the benefits of the scheme. Why this scheme, how it benefits the migrant workers, and how it benefits the empowerment of migrant workers. And this will bring an economic, social and psychological security to a large population of migrant workers who have been shaken due to the devastating effects of the pandemic. Yes, that's right, because many people lost their job and their family was dependent on completely on their income. And when they lost their job that they're working, the government gave them a support, or a security, in the sense both economic and social and also psychological support. The government that time given was a psychological support. That was an important thing given to this scheme. And the next thing is, this helped the rural economy. But not only the rural economy immediately, also in future, because this created rural infrastructural facilities. Through the rural infrastructural development, not only the immediate need, also the future needs of this rural population also get met. Then the if this program is absent, then there would have been a rise in rural employment for sure, because rural population are the people who are migrated to urban areas for working. And if this scheme was not there, then the people directly return to their villages, and the rural employment in India will increases. Also the disguised unemployment in agriculture sector was also increased. And this scheme don't pave a way for this to happen. So this scheme curbed this chance of happening. Then the next thing is, given the need of immediate relief to migrant laborers, Quick delivery of opportunity under this scheme will augur well for the well-being of these workers. Yes, the government developed the scheme, and the scheme have to reach the people how much fast as possible. So there was a question behind the government when they started the scheme, and they reached out the people as soon as possible. And the next thing is, this also encouraged the coordination and collaboration between union, state and local governments. Yes, now the responsibility falls on everybody, not only the central government, because they are formulating this scheme. Every government at every level, like from the local government, because the local governments are the one from the ward level, they have to identify the people and they have to identify the needs of the people. Then they formed a plan according to their rural area, then or rural or urban area. They formed the plan in the regional level, and they formulated it to the state governments and the respective state governments, and then the state governments informed the union government how the coordination and collaboration, and it provided for a cooperative federalism that we only saw in the constitution. And there are many clashes between a state or many state governments and central governments, but at this time, through this scheme, this ensured a coordination and collaborative activity between these types of government. This is all about the benefits of this scheme, and you can add more points by your onwards, because this question is only 250 words and you can add as much as possible within the word limit. And when we are coming to the conclusion part, in this question it doesn't have a specific conclusion because it is a direct question we are discussing here, right? But even we can write in conclusion, right? Like if in this absence of the scheme, that's also thing that will happen, so something like that you can add. But in the conclusion part, I have added that PM Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan is aligned with the spirit of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Is we have to mention that scheme Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, because that was the mainstream scheme that introduced during the pandemic time, and this pushes for the ideals of fathers of our nation. This it will strengthen the rural. Yes, fathers of our nation, father of our nation is Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi always insist on the rural development. Mahatma Gandhi's rural development approach is its outcome is something known as Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, or that was also visible in PM Garib Kalyan Rozgar Yojana through the rural infrastructure and rural economic development, and it strengthened the rural economy. Really, when the pandemic was affected, the rural population, the rural economy was the worst affected. But through this scheme, it strengthened the rural economy through a plethora of economic opportunities waiting to be taken up by the ambition and aspiration of returning migrant labours. And after the if the pandemic is still continuing, many people started returning to their workplace, but many of them are staying back in their own village because now they have their own employment opportunity in their village itself. So these helped the migrant labours, not only the returned migrant labours, and it encouraged the overall rural economic development. And that's all about this question. And always remind the word limit while you are answering. If you have any doubt, please ask me in the comment section. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe our channel and to click the bell icon. Okay, see you tomorrow guys. Bye. Have a great day.